Here I am back again, folks, abroad, everywhere, Southeast Asia, Belgium, my relatives, etc. I'm Charlotte Iserbyt. I'm the author of The Deliberate Dumbing Down of America, which you can get at Amazon.com, the updated version and abridged. And you can also get the free download, which is fantastic, on the internet at deliberatedumbingdown.com. And it's so easy to use. All these quotes you've heard today are there. Okay? So easy. Go down, scroll down to the index once you've got it downloaded. Find it, look what you're looking for, then go to the page number, cut, paste, send to your superintendent, send to your school board members. I forgot this morning my favorite little story. After having beaten up on Americans in radio interviews, etc., over the years, one day I was so tired, I would say to them, when are you going to wake up? Don't you understand what I'm talking about? Please believe me. This is true. Call me. I'll send anything you want to you. And so I sat down, and all of a sudden I had this message. People always, if you say I have a message from God, they'll always say, oh, she thinks she's pretty important. Well, I had a message from God, and I just started writing. The title was The Devil's Seven-Prong Fork, and it's now called, it's got 8 prongs, and I'm going to have to make it into a big rake or something, because it's getting bigger and bigger. But anyway, this all came to me, and I'm just going to help you understand why some of us, even myself, have not understood what's happening to us, how they're taking this country down, they're taking the world down for this small elitist group of journalists, UN people, NGO people, tax-exempt foundation people, conservatives, liberals, all. This is that small group. They've been at it ever since 1934, and I read the Carnegie book, okay? You have that quote. All right, now, the first one is gradualism. I suppose that's the most important. The frog in the cold water. So let's say 1934, Carnegie decided to do what I told you this morning, to change America's wonderful free economic system, which has brought millions of people to this country to experience upward mobility. They came here for that. Carnegie didn't want us to have it. So they're going to use the schools to get rid of it. And I read you the quote. All right, so gradualism. So they're not going to do it fast. They couldn't have told people in 1934, hey, Americans, you know what? We're going to scrap our economic system. Nobody likes it. We're just going to put in a planned economy, just like the Soviet Union, because they'd all just come back from the Soviet Union, these same people. They thought it was great. So they're not going to do that. So they do it gradually. Year by year by year, Carnegie stays with it. I told you all the different funding, all the way up to Mark Tucker, going into Kentucky, going into all these states in the 90s, destroying academic systems that were not that bad. In fact, The Nation at Risk was a phony report. An admiral requested the Sandia Institute to check on the statistics for A Nation at Risk, and they were pretty phony. So they needed the crisis to move on and on and on to destroy our economy, to give us a planned economy, Soviet system, school to work, which is going in right now using school choice charter schools on elected boards. Regional government is communism. I have a letter, Zeitlin letter, in the Communist Daily World. He says, it's a shame we don't move faster with regionalism. Works so well in the Soviet Union. So when you hear that, that's regionalism is communism. That's what they're putting in. So charter schools on elected boards, that's regionalism, total power control. So anyway, you understand gradualism. The frog is now totally boiled. All right, semantic deception. The use of words that sound so good to all of us. Basic skills, reading, writing, arithmetic. Well, we've got all these educators like Harold Shane. Basics, no, that's not what we think. He tells us, educators, change agents. That's understanding the Constitution is outmoded. That's understanding that globalism is the way to go. It's understanding we need sustainable development, whatever. That's semantic deception. And you can think of many other things like, for instance, critical thinking, decision-making, direct instruction. Talk about semantic deception. It sounds so good. I mean, I still have friends who are good teachers who can't get it. They say, well, that means just teaching in front of the class directly. They don't know that it's Skinner. It's operant conditioning. And it fits beautifully. There's no system that fits in the computer for software for education other, I think, challenge me if I'm wrong, it goes in the computer software other than Skinner. And he said it. He said, it's my box. So that's direct instruction. And out of the ADI out there in Eugene, Oregon, or wherever it is, Engelman. That's Engelman, his staff. One of them admitted to one of the conservatives that kept going up against me and saying, Charlotte's wrong, she's wrong, she's wrong. That gal, good for her, Barb Tennyson, called the office and was told by that office, Charlotte Iserbyt's right, it's Skinner. They use reading. Isn't that interesting? Because that's the core. That's the whole thing, reading. They used that, upsetting Americans with whole language. Sam's going to talk on that. They used all these programs so kids couldn't read, and then it got to the point where they would accept anything, even direct instruction, Skinner. Those two words, direct instruction, that is semantic deception, and it has fooled everybody. Now we have Hegelian dialectic, you know what that is. Create the problem, people scream, impose a solution. For people who don't understand Hegel, what he is all about. My husband, at one time, we were first married, I did the laundry, and I threw a red sweater in with his white shirts. And so his shirts were pink, and my sweater was that big. And I didn't know anything about Hegel at that point. But when I finally learned about, you want something, so you create the problem, then people scream, and you impose a solution they never would have accepted. I thought, but I didn't have to really think hard. My husband said, don't you ever dare do laundry again. And I never had to do laundry again. So what if I hadn't wanted to do laundry again? What if I'd been someone who understood Hegel? I would have just done exactly what I did. Throw the red shirt in with it, the red sweater in with the white shirts. And I find audiences understand that better than going into Hegel. All right, now, media control, total control of the media. David Rockefeller admitted at Baden-Baden, Germany, the early part of the century, to the top media people. You know them, CBS, ABC, NBC, Rupert Murdoch, Fox, whatever, Washington Post, Times, etc. He said, thank you for keeping our plans under wraps. Now, brainwashing in the schools, that's the global agenda. It's been going on, ever since 1965. There are people here that came out of ESCA, basically, mostly, because the teachers refused all the way, and they still refuse, to teach so much of this curriculum. But that's been the brainwash with all of the, now we're getting into competency-based, as Cindy was talking about, individual education plans. You could follow the child so easily. It sounds good, doesn't it? Each child's going to have special attention. That's what parents thought. No, it was so they understood every single thing about that child. And it will be going in the computer, has nothing to do with academics. Now, you have the left and the right, the same. That's the smartest thing of all. And Quigley said it in Tragedy and Hope. Quigley was Clinton's mentor, President Clinton's mentor, and he wrote in Tragedy and Hope that the elitists, the financiers and all met in the late part of the 20th century. They had to figure out how are they going to get what they want, basically. So they're going to control both parties at the top. And that's what we have. At the top, there's no difference. And we've learned that. It's very sad, but we've learned it. Now, then you have the left and the right the same. Then you have Skinner, and that's the method. And that's what I go after. If you forget everything else I've said today, don't forget that, because we're not animals. They don't want us to think. They don't want us to be individuals. They don't want us to speak out. They want all of us to go away. And we're not going to go away until we die, because we're human beings. And human beings really do like to survive. Yeah, and we have a conscience, and we care. But a lot of people don't understand this anymore. So that's my devil's, it's got 8 prongs now, okay? 8-prong fork. You yourself, when you give speeches, you can add prongs. There are a lot of subjects out there that are very important. I'm not saying they're not. I don't think standards are important, because I know that you can do away with them just as fast as I can go bing with my finger. Please, folks, don't you understand that? There are parents in Maine, and there are teachers, math teachers, good people. They think that these standards make a difference. They don't make any difference at all. First of all, they were all written up in the late 70s, the goals collection out of the Northwest Regional Lab, where they sent out 18,000 different standards to every state. So, look, if you call it standards, outcomes, goals, competencies, it doesn't make a bit of difference. They can change it overnight. Please get that word out to people in Maine and get them to start focusing on kill charter school legislation, because we want to hold on to our elective form of government. Charter schools have unelected boards. Unelected boards are councils. The council form of government is the Soviet form of government. All right, we were talking about diversion. It's not just that, it's other issues as well. Issues I would ordinarily have been very concerned about. But we can't afford to be diverted anymore. There's only one issue, and that's remaining human beings with a conscience and a soul. Don't go near anything else. I don't care how important you think it is. Talk. We're losing our individuality. We're losing our humanity. We're going to be trained as animals. We need your help on one issue, that. C.S. Lewis said it. When education is beaten by training, civilization what? Dies. Just keep saying it over and over to people. Put it in your letters. Put it everywhere. And to ask them, please stop fighting standards. Please. Thank you.